Design and looks rank as the top parameters when buying smartphones, but are usually relegated to the back in favor of specs and features by manufacturers. But what if a device could offer the best of both worlds? The Gionee eLife S5.1 attempts to do just that. As the successor to the eLife S5.5, which came with a 5.5mm waistline and held the crown of the world's slimmest smartphone for a fair bit, the S5.1 has its task cut out. It measures a mere 5.1mm around the waist and very briefly did manage to claim the coveted crown. The mainstay of the Gionee eLife S5.1 may be its slim waist, but there's a welcome side effect. It tips the scales at just under 100 grams. Its 4.8-inch display means it isn't overly large either, so everything points towards a slim, lightweight and compact device that's easy to pocket. With a resolution of 1280 x 720 pixels, the screen pixel density works out to be 306 ppi. And the AMOLED tech used by the screen ensures everything is crisp and vivid. In terms of software, you get Android KitKat 4.4.2 with Amigo UI 2.0, and it brings a few neat features such as gesture support. The interface itself doesn't include a separate app drawer and places all installed apps on the home screens themselves. The notification panel includes two separate screens, one for notifications and the other for the quick settings. The latter includes a one-touch RAM booster as well. There are a few goodies to be found under settings. For example, the quick operating mode includes 4 gestures that can be drawn directly on the screen to launch apps or dial a contact. When the phone is on standby, another handy option is the double tap to wake feature. The shooting capabilities of the eLife S5.1 are made up by an 8-megapixel autofocus shooter at the rear, assisted by an LED flash, while a 5-megapixel camera stands guard at the front. The camera app is fairly minimalistic with respect to features, and you can't tweak settings like ISO, white balance, etc. However, features like an auto scene mode, HDR and panorama are available. The default camera app also gives you access to Charm Cam, another shooting app which offers various other features to play around with the images. In terms of pure image quality, the eLife S5.1 turned out to be a reasonably good shooter, especially in daylight. Close-ups and HDR shots looked pretty decent too, with the focus sharp and colors vibrant. And while the low-light shots were quite noisy, they looked usable and share-worthy on social media. Looking at that slim body, it doesn't look like it could pack some powerful innards. But it does, because inside lukes an octa-core MediaTek chip clocked at 1.7 GHz. This is mated to 1 GB of RAM, which does seem a tad low at this price point. Thankfully for it, regular tasks work smoothly, with hardly a hint of lag or jitter. We tried intensive games like Beach Buggy Racing and Riptide GP2 and found the going smooth. The app load times and other things like the UI navigation and transitions aren't the fastest, but nothing that breaks the deal. The fixed 16 GB internal storage is divided into system storage and phone storage with over 2.5 GB and 9.5 GB free to use respectively. The lack of a memory expansion slot could be an issue, but there's a USB OTG support. The 2050 mAh battery can last a full day comfortably. With more frugal usage, we even managed to make it stretch into the second day. Do note that the battery does drain heavily when connected to 3G data. So let's get straight to the point here. The Gionee eLife S5.1 is a tad pricey for Rs 18,999 given its specs. It also does not stand out in terms of performance, though it's no wimp either. The camera seems capable enough too. Where it does shine is the style factor, a parameter where many stalwarts falter. The long battery life is the cherry on the top. The other two members of the Slim Brigade, the Oppo R5 and the Vivo X5 Max, are thinner than the eLife S5.1 by a few millimeters and also more loaded in terms of specs. However, they're also significantly more expensive. In the same price range, the closest rivals to the S5.1 are the Lenovo Vibe X2 and the Huawei Honor 6, and even its own sibling, the eLife S5.1. This isn't a decision you can make easily, but when it comes to style, the choice is very personal and better decided by the individual's heart rather than the mind. As far as we are concerned, the Gionee eLife S5.1 is one of the most flaunt-worthy phones you can buy south of Rs 20,000. But it will seem even sexier when the pricing comes down a bit.